All right. Hey, welcome to the Go for CEO channel again. It is such a pleasure always to have these entrepreneurs, right? CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs, people that are making things happen from startup to a billion, because that is small to medium-sized business, right? Startups, those struggles to get going. And today, I'm going to have you meet a gentleman that our kids met in dance school. So it's all these relationships that you have in life that when you do something like this, like a YouTube channel or a podcast, you can actually go back to them and give them some value by hopefully, just having a great conversation. So stay tuned. By the way, subscribe to the channel, do a thumbs up, smash that like button, they call it. And if you're listening on one of our podcasts, that also is always a big deal to, give us a rating and all that good stuff. So, but without further ado, Mr. Mike Nolan from the Goosehead Franchise Insurance Agency. Excited to have you on, Mike. Thanks so much for coming on the Go for CEO channel.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks, John, for having me on. Appreciate it.
Awesome. I know that we're going to learn a lot about how you run your business and why you thought about it, all that type of stuff. So why don't we get started with a lot of our guests? We like to share kind of a little bit of the background of you and how you got to the point where, man, Goosehead and this insurance agency was something that you really wanted to go all in on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I started off in the industry about 10 years ago with a State Farm agent who was a spectacular agent. President's Club winner, ran his business like how I envisioned when I got in the industry. Basically, he was a stepping stone agent where a lot of State Farm agents that wanted to open up their own franchise with State Farm, he opened the doors to show them how to run an agency, which, as I said, he did it as any President's Club should. So I did that for 6 years. I worked my way up, manager, sales team. Ended up it was almost a logistical issue at the end of my tenure there, just because my wife and we had our oldest daughter, who you just referenced, Emma. She's in daughter's dance class, and we moved out to Naperville, which the logistics of Park Ridge kind of it was taking me away from my newborn baby girl, along with my wife, which I then came into a opportunity with Allstate with another President's Club winner closer to home in Naperville, and which the opportunity there was to start up a couple satellite agencies, grow that with a couple sales producers, in which we did that successfully. Right in that transition phase is where I came into contact with Goosehead, a recruiter with Goosehead, in which everything they kind of laid out was previously everything that I thought how the business it can be run more efficiently, and kind of vetted Goosehead for a good year and a half. I'm still with Allstate, doing great things, and that agent at Allstate was another stepping stone agency too. So it was basically an opportunity that at Goosehead is that came to at the right time. The timing was everything there, in which they hit the nail on the head with the Goosehead model, which I can discuss in a couple minutes. But that's kind of the quick snapshot of my industry experience. The previous 10 years, 6 years with State Farm, another year and a half with Allstate, and then the last 2.5 I've been doing great things with Goosehead.
Awesome. Well, that's a great layout of a track record. And Go for CEO community, sometimes you spend some time, next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, but plan it out, right? And Mike always was kind of had an eye on what you just said is, how could you tweak it? What are some things that you would do better? But all the time producing, and you're really an intrapreneur for about 10 years with these great agents that showed you the way. So now we're at the point that you start to look at Goosehead. They it seems like they came after you and you started vetting them out as well. So what was the determination, and then also how did that planning stage go? Like, did they send you a contract? Did you start to get a lawyer? How did that all work, as far as to give us a little bit of background of how you get a franchise of your own?
Yeah, no, yeah, you know, it happened in a whirlwind, but you know, I vetted it, and the determining factors. I mean, it was 4 or 5 main key points that, amongst others, but the 4 ones that just stood out to me were the technology. They, you know, they have it's outstanding. Like, you know, if you see it with your own eyes, it's, you know, just the way that they thought of it's definitely industry changing. That was definitely something I haven't seen before. And it, from all aspects of it, to going out and marketing, to go, you know, internally with our client relationship manager software. You know, I can go on and on. Technology. The other, you know, the second thing that kind of stood out to me is the choice option. Clients back at State Farm and Allstate, spectacular companies, but you know, there'd be situations where I'd have to, you know, bite the bullet and say, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. Where just because, you know, those are low risk companies, they only have a niche, you know, they have a market that they're willing to bring on. You know, high risk properties are not their thing, even medium risk properties. But long story short, here at Goosehead, it kind of has a plethora of low to high risk carriers that can suit any solution, any issue to find a solution for. The other thing was the service. Service was they have a discovery day where we go out to the corporate office in Dallas, and right there you see how the kind of the back office service team is run. It's hundreds of agents, fully licensed, and it was spectacular to see. They have statistics and they have their quotas, which I didn't think you somewhat have a quota with service people, but they figured out how to do it, and that was definitely eye-opening. And then just the culture of the company is second to none. Everybody you meet, you run into, it's everybody's, you know, out for success and willing to help you to get there. They can hold your hand as much as you want them to, or you can work from a arm's length distance, which is a nice thing to have. You have that support if you need it. If not, you can go out and just grow as fast as you want to grow. So, and then they're always, the last thing is, I mean, it kind of goes back to everything. They're always looking to how to be better. I mean, every Friday at 10 o'clock, we have a call, and they ask us agents to email in and any ways to improve efficiency, to improve the client customer experience, whether it be technology or little nuances throughout the process. So those are kind of the main ones amongst others. But that helped. That was kind of the determining factors, how I, you know, made it easy to make the leap. And I'm sorry, the second half, I think there was a second half of that question.
No, I mean, you really broke down a lot of great nuggets. You know, my mind starts racing, man. Oh, that was a nugget. That was a nugget. That was a nugget. Right. So great stuff. So, yeah, I mean, look, it seems like obviously you fell in love with kind of their operations, their systems, the things that they were solving that you weren't getting at maybe your tenure with State Farm and Allstate. And obviously, you know, destiny is that you landed with Goosehead and not with those 2 other companies. So take us through this next level, right? You sign your contract, you're ready to roll. What does day 1 through day 90, you know, look like for you? What were some things, thinking about it as a business owner, that you started doing? Did you pre-plan already having an office? Did you have a marketing budget? You know, what were some things that kind of in that first 90 days that our community can learn from that helped you kind of ramp up?
Yeah, well, that's and that was your second half of the question. So the whirlwind I was mentioning is that I made the decision right around Memorial Day of 2018, and I literally to be in the training class for the end of June at Goosehead in Dallas. So in that time frame, Goosehead's operations, they send you kind of a checklist of, hey, you need to have this set up. So there's your hand holding that I was telling you about, to say, hey, you need to have your your entity set up, your business license and all that stuff, which is, they put that in the contract, but then they say, hey, we're going to, hold your hand to throughout the process to get that. Basically, had to expedite everything because I was kind of behind the 8 ball, so to speak, just because everybody at that time, it was either I could go in June or in October, just due to our logistics in the family. So it was a whirlwind in that aspect, just because I had, I think, 3 weeks where everybody else who was in my training class probably had, months to prepare. But nonetheless, I had already been working, as I mentioned, I vetted Goosehead, and I've been working on kind of a business model plan for the first year, which the first 3 months, first 90 days, it was just going and meeting with and networking. It was plain and simple. That was kind of when I first got in the industry, that was the way how I envisioned an insurance agent kind of marketing him or herself. And that's kind of one of the other aspects Goosehead kind of nailed is, hey, it's a people business. I love talking with people every day, and that's where and I'm still doing that on a daily basis. So I've probably met 50 people. I mean, personally, through lunch, through coffee, 50 people in the industry within the first 30 days. My goal is to get to 100 within the first quarter. And that was kind of small goal, small yet lofty, but simple goal is what I should have said. So just networking, plain and simple, and getting used to acclimated with the systems, because there's 30 different companies systems we're dealing with, which a lot of passwords, a lot of usernames, and I think we all know how that goes. So there's a lot of frustration built in there. So there's a steep learning curve, but once you get past that, it's an awesome thing.
Awesome. Well, you talked a lot about operations and just kind of, having your marketing goal, right? Look, 100 people in 90 days.
Yeah.
I know that I believe I might have been one of those that we had lunch, right? That Starbucks, and we met up again, because obviously through our kids being at the dance school and everything. But so tell us a little bit about, so what's your first client? Did you go to friends and family first? Did you kind of hit the network that you just had because maybe you had built a ton of relationships over 10 years at an insurance business? What was kind of those first few clients and that onboarding process for you?
No. And just like my State Farm and Allstate days, they advise you to start with your friends and family, probably like any other sales job. But the reason is, and looking back at it, it's 100%, 1000% correct. Is your friends and family, they're going to allow you to make mistakes. Okay, they're going to be a lot more willing to still be your friend and be happy with you as a family member if you were to make a mistake on quoting them, writing their policy. So that's the thinking. Just because going back to the training class, I mean, I could quote 10 people a day at my State Farm and Allstate days. My first day in the training class, it took me an hour. It took me a day to quote myself.
Wow.
Yes. So it's definitely a lot faster these days. But the thinking is, going back to the training is hey, you need to practice. you need to practice quoting. Not only you're trying to write them, but first you got to get used to the systems, because it's definitely could be cumbersome for the first 30, 60, 90 days, depending on the learning curve.
Well, and there's no quit, right? I mean, you made the commitment, you started your own business, you know, and as tough as it may be, I think a lot of people unfortunately think their voyage in business ownership or entrepreneurship, oh yeah, the first 90 days, I'm just going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to have a great time, and it's going to, you know, I'm going to get up at 10 in the morning and go to sleep at 2 in the afternoon, take a nap. You know, owning your own time is a big deal. So tell us a little bit about, since I'm kind of transitioning in there, what was your time frame like? You know, let's be honest here. Let's give it to them as it is, right? Were you working like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. type of thing? I mean, really kind of revving up, and let's let it out there. What do you think? What can we tell the Go for CEO community about?
Yeah, no, to start, I was definitely putting in 12-hour days. And, you know, I was 7, because, you know, I could work from home. So I'd get up, and before the kids got up, and I'd get a couple hours in, and then we did our process of going to school, yada, yada, yada. And then I would be home, you know, logistics involved. I'd be home, you know, my goal was to be home by 9 o'clock before the kids went to bed. So yeah, no, I wanted to ramp up and ramp up fast, just because I knew it would make it easier on the back end, which is kind of how they educated the agents to say, hey, it gets could get overwhelming, and if the more you do in the front end, it will, you know, kind of help you on the back end, if that makes sense. So yeah, no,
For sure.
Ideally, yeah, I'd like to, you know, I was putting in probably 60-hour weeks for the first, I'd say, 6 months. And then that's kind of when the winter hits. So I kind of went back to networking a lot more often in the winter of 2018, 2019. And that's kind of how my model is in the winter, you know, things kind of slow down. I wouldn't come to a halt, but it allows a little more time to go out and network some more.
Well, and the beauty of insurance, right, is I've had a few guests that are insurance agencies, from Medicare to financial services to PNC now with you. And, you know, the reality is as you build up that clientele, it also is residual, right? There's renewals and things that you have to come about. So let's dive into, you know, at this point, you've really shared, you know, the beginning parts of kind of how you started, what you vetted out, the experiences of Goosehead, going down there to Dallas, kind of ramping up the first 90 days, you know, and seeing how you bring on those first few clients at the beginning, especially those first 90 days, and the work ethic, right? The first 6 months that you needed to have to really ramp this up so that you could actually take a step back just for a second and kind of evaluate your business. So, you know, now that you're working on your business instead of in your business as much as you did at the beginning, you know, what are some things that you noticed that you could have tweaked, that you did tweak, and maybe that you will tweak in the future based on your experience the first couple of years?
Yeah, the one thing I would have tweaked would definitely be network more, which sounds easier, you know, easy to say now, but and at the time you're overwhelmed. Hey, what are my priorities? Should I be working on trying to learn the system, or trying to learn go out and market, trying to, you know, what are the priorities? And you know, they kind of hammer that home in it's a training class. Hey, network. All this stuff will come later. Networking is key. So that's definitely what I would go back and tweak if I could do it over. But some things I wouldn't tweak is just the relationships I built. You know, they kind of go hand in hand, but you know, it's a lot more rewarding than what I expected. Just, you know, just because I'm dealing with the kind of the human element. I'm building these relationships that, you know, I was more of a transactional agent back at my State Farm and Allstate days, where here I'm building it organically and kind of wouldn't have it any other way.
Sweet. And again, sharing the insights of kind of what you needed to do, right, to kind of ramp up the business and get it over. Now it's almost, I think, 3 years, right, is where we're at.
Yeah, about 2.5. July July 1st is my my anniversary date.
Awesome. Well, most businesses, unfortunately, go out of business in the first 5 years, but you're already more than halfway through, and really with this type of business, the nice thing is that it does become residual and all that good stuff. So tell us a bit about your model of scaling, right? So we've talked about networking, which is kind of really the marketing side and some of that type of thing, so scaling right now, are you still an individual producer? Have you brought on any part-time people, or is because the model is so advanced, do you kind of have that back-end support really through Goosehead and corporate? So tell us a little bit about how that efficiency helps you to scale.
No. So I am a solopreneur, if you will, and my model was to make sure I knew the business as far as the systems and the networking aspect, like the back of my hand before I go out and look for employees. So yeah, my goal was to get to $1 million of premium before I hire my my first employee, which I'm just about there. So I'm funny you mentioned that. 2 weeks ago, I met with my my accountant to kind of get the ins and outs of that. So I'll be probably looking to scale in the next month or two. But as far as I'm sorry, the second half of your question.
Yeah, just the back end systems, how Goosehead really kind of helps you. If you think about being a solopreneur, there's a lot of hats to wear. And like you said at the beginning, they told you to focus network. But reality is you still have to work on your business, right? So what did Goosehead add value to that?
No, so they are again, they have the hand, you like I said, they can hold your hand as much as they want to, but as far as they just implemented I think it's called an L2 at the let's call it Goosehead University, where tenured agents like myself can go in there and say, hey, I need a refresher course. Hey, what can I tweak? What can I do better? But and then they have these, for every employee they have a training course, which it's a 2-week training down in Dallas. But and again, it's evolved since I went there 2.5 years ago now, because it had to. Just the systems have changed so drastically, just because they're evolving, trying to get better, trying to get more efficient, trying to have the client and our vendors, vendor partners, and as well as referral partners minds at hand. So it's the training and support is awesome. I can't think of another word how to explain it. It's they just have a headquarter office here in Chicago, so I want to spend a week there just to say, hey, what best practices of other agents that are trained by the corporate office. I can go there and just get little nuggets to make sure I can run my business a little better.
Awesome. And let's go into what is your actual day-to-day. I think it's a good transition here, right? You've shared kind of the support, the networking, the marketing, the scaling ideas, and what's going on in the future here coming up. What is your day-to-day? Can you give us a little bit of insight of a true entrepreneur, a solopreneur, someone that kind of has a business mechanism and a tool behind them to go serve the community? What's your day-to-day if you were to kind of put that into context, maybe from wake up to ending your day?
Yeah. So I've learned very early on that time blocking is a very underrated thing. It sounds so easy to do, but it can be difficult, especially you have a family in the background with the pandemic. But typically I'm an early riser. I'll be up at 6 in the morning. I'll get a workout in, a quick workout in, and then get the kids ready for school with my wife. But I'm trying to be in front of my laptop about 8 o'clock, 8:30. Okay. And the first hour or two, I'm spent networking, checking in with my network. And typically I'm not talking business. I just want to, check in, and it's almost like a, just getting revved up for the day, getting your mind, getting the brain way it's going. So sometimes coffee doesn't do the trick, but that's for the first couple hours, and then about 10 to noon, I'm emails and phone calls with clients looking for new business or existing business, doing reshops, clients that their rates may have changed or they have a claim coming off, reshop the rates, see if we can find them a better rate, which typically is the case. So, and then the lunch hour, my goal is to set a networking lunch hour, coffee or what have you, 5-10 minutes just to check in. Does that always go that the case? No. With the last 12 months, people have the family stuff going on in the background. So, but then from 1 o'clock to basically 7, phone calls and quotes and emails, and just going out there and making sure attracting new business.
I appreciate
it. Fairly simple. In that 6 hour time slot, I'll spend an hour. I'll switch it up, an hour doing phone calls, an hour doing emails, an hour doing quotes, and kind of change it up to keep you fresh. So one activity doesn't become a little too tasking.
Go ahead.
Nope. Did I lose you?
Yeah, I lost you first. I paused it, so we'll keep on going. You said phone calls, and then however you.
Yeah. So the phone calls and just switch it up just to make sure you're not getting in a plateau or a rut where things become too dull, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Let's also kind of share, is most of your follow-up and database action to pursue business through internal mechanisms nowadays, because you built out a nice clientele over the last 3 years, or is it also still, are there leads that you buy? Like, tell us a little bit about that side going forward.
Yeah, no, it's I don't buy leads. That's, it's a little bit of both though. It's a little bit of going internally through my client base, say, hey, we've quoted your home, we don't have your auto, or vice versa, or is there any of your friends and family looking to save some money? So that's one aspect. The other aspect is I have a couple of referral partners that with people refinancing at the rates where they are, there's a lot of refinances going on. Getting them a lower rate on their home insurance can definitely help them get that lower rate that they're looking for. So it's a little bit of both, where my referral partners doing client reviews or they're doing new home purchases, new home buyers or even existing home buyers. And then my internal client base is where I kind of do a nice 50-50 even split, where I try and focus 50 on one and 50 on the other.
What would you say, just so people understand, a lot of people unfortunately miss this, right? They sell someone, maybe they built a little bit of rapport and brought them on board to be a client, but they also miss the depth, right? Can you tell us how many products technically could you really go into a household to build a lot of depth? What would you say? It's 5, 10, 20?
Yeah, it would be, yeah, 5 to 10 would be a good range, depending on the, situation. There's, kind of specialty policies that are mixed in there that not everybody will need or have. But yeah, 5 to 10 would be a good rough number.
Awesome. Well, and I wanted to share with the community. I mean, a lot of times, different, if you could own a mechanic shop, somebody comes in for an oil change, you could still do rotations. You can spot check their pressure, right? Their windshield wipers, their, other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a mechanic, but it just goes to show you, right? In business, once you get one client, as you said, on a daily basis, you're going back to those clients and building more rapport and maybe laying down a nugget, right? Hey, Mr. Jones or Miss Jones, we have this, but, have you thought about that? And it's not salesy. It's just, hey, recommendation, right? So pretty awesome stuff, Mike. I really appreciate you sharing with the audience. And, as we kind of come to an end with the interview, we always like to bring our guests through kind of the CEO, right? And you've shared a lot of it today, so I really appreciate it. I hope people get a lot out of this message and interview. But when we think about CEO, right, in our context, C is for client experience, E is for employee engagement, and O is for operational excellence. So when you think about the value proposition, the Mike Nolan Goosehead Insurance Agency, what's the difference? What's that value prop in about 30 seconds? If you could share with someone that may see this and it's local and then they want to come and talk to you, what will they experience in client experience?
Yeah, well, as a client, I mean, from A to Z, kind of Goosehead has it covered. So to giving you your options, several different options, not just one, which before, but giving the power back to you, the client, where you get to choose who you want to go with a fair rate. So we're shopping essentially, the market. And allowing you to not only giving you the same coverage, typically giving you the 20% better coverage than giving before. I'm going to, if you're not interrupting me because I'm speaking too much, trying to educate you about the coverages on a policy, then I'm not doing my business. So just from the service as well, the back end service, their goal is to be up there with the Amazons and the Apple. That's where the CEO of Goosehead is. They want their net promoter score up there with those companies, the likes of those companies, and they're on their way. So from having the products that at the fair rates as well as the back end service and claims, Goosehead has definitely has it all covered.
I love it. And I know that right now as a solopreneur, you're kind of looking at it in the next few months to 6 months to grow and scale a little bit. But, your business management, experience probably lends a lot to the way that you're going to probably treat your employees in the future and vendors and stuff like that. So can you give us a little taste? I know right now we're going to scale into employee engagement. Well, what do you envision it being just your formula for employee engagement in the future?
Yeah, no, employees, I'm going to basically, they're going to be like their own solopreneurs. They're going to own their own business, like entrepreneur. They're going to own their own business within business, and therefore, I want them to treat their business as like friends and family. You go out and treat them how you would want treat your own friends and family. To walking them through the process. Every step of the way, answering phone calls at 9 o'clock at night when your eyes are almost shut, to just going above and beyond, and kind of what I would expect when if I sign up on policy. I want the person on the other end to make sure I'm taking care of if I have questions or if I have I need assistance. So just the training and support at Goosehead is allowed us to do that. And I wouldn't have any qualms to. I'm excited to get some employees under the Mike Nolan agency.
Nice. And what I heard there, right, is empowerment. training, and value, right? That you'll bring to the table as their leader, right? But also letting them know that they could run a business inside your business and be that entrepreneur spirit, so that they don't feel like they're just coming to a job. They're coming to something that they could build too, and within your agency. So really cool. So last one is operational excellence. And, you've shared a lot that Goosehead really kind of lays out the framework, has given you such a great pathway, but anything that you would like to say that's a value proposition as far as the way you think about your operations and what that might mean to someone that's learning here on the Go for CEO channel?
No, just it's not really rocket science for me. It's, hey, you're doing business with me. You're not doing business with Goosehead. Just the operations is of getting you quoted to running through the underwriting process. Just, and then on the back end stuff where claims may happen, questions may arise. My goal is to have an answer to you within an hour of request, assuming I'm available. So, and that's what I tell all my clients. Hey, call me directly. If it's something where I'm tied up and it's urgent, call me again. Realize I'll step out. So, and if that's not the case, then we have 100 back office people that can help you out. If not, you have the company who you're with can also help you out from a client standpoint. From vendors and referral partners, I have the same goal. Within an hour of request, I'm going to either get back to you. I'm going to. We have a closing 2 weeks ago that was being held up just because the period was in the wrong place on the policy. So with literally got a request, and within a half hour we had an updated policy. So yeah, so little things like that. Don't run into them often, but when you do, it's like, okay, it kind of makes you feel good because you help the client, get their home in some way, shape, or form, in a small way. Okay, so and just the people aspect of it, it's definitely, as I stated earlier, it's the most rewarding thing. Saving people money is, that's awesome, but just dealing with people on a daily basis, it's wouldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, look, you spent 10 years learning from some of the best. You decided to, take that leap and become from an employee to an entrepreneur. Building that mindset, building that solopreneur spirit, understanding your business, and eventually you're going towards that business, right? That third quadrant, being a business owner. When you bring on employees, you really start to own a real business that you could step away even a little bit more, but have some leadership inside of it. So awesome stuff. So, hey, I really appreciate you, Mike, for coming on. Thanks for making the time. And I know in your busy schedule, I think today is Friday, so you probably have a Goosehead leadership call soon. So anything that you want to leave the audience with, as far as, also, where your social media is, how to get a hold of you, what's your phone number, your website, what are some things, a way to contact you?
Yeah. So, basically, working virtually these days, but I can, the way to get in touch with me by phone is 630-300-3681. My website is, if you Google Mike Nolan Goosehead Insurance, you'll see it up there. Don't have the exact, I think it's a long-winded website, so I don't want to bore you with that, but email mike.nolan@goosehead.com. And then I have a Facebook page as well, which that's should know that as well. I'm on here, but you can catch me on there as well. And not on any other social media, but that's something actually I'm working on my operations on, of getting up and going there. So I'll keep you posted on those.
Awesome. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I know, is it nationwide or just in Illinois? I just want to make sure.
Well, My franchise is just in Illinois, but Goosehead is definitely nationwide. So we're not sure how many states we're in the 40s. I don't know if we're at 50 states yet, but you know,
Well, let's have people help you. Not don't worry about the rest of Goosehead right now. So, awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate you joining the Go for CEO channel. Truly blessed to have people that I get to meet. Now I get to interview them, get to understand kind of their mindset and what they do on a daily basis, and really educate our community. So, ladies and gentlemen, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, put a comment in the comment section, or leave a rating about where you heard this podcast and YouTube interview. So Mike can really kind of interact with you. You heard his number, so go back if you want to hear it. I'll put that number also in the description, and just really listen to kind of what Mike said. He spent 10 years as a entrepreneur. He really owned his own position and then became an entrepreneur. So exciting times. We are going to get back with you in 6 months, Mike, because we want to be able to find that and to chronicle that journey, and hopefully build a tribe around Mike Nolan's Goosehead Agency, and get all these people to start to wonder, like, oh man, what is he up to now? What's he going on? Did he expand? All that type of stuff. And really appreciate your time. So any last words? I'll leave it up to you.
No, I really appreciate you having me on, and everybody's time, especially yours. Thanks, John.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Happy weekend, guys.